Hello, Virgo friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Virgo August 2023 Astrology Horoscope forecast. This is for you if Virgo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement of Virgo that you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Virgo friend, so birthdays like September 15th through the rest of the sign, or Virgo degrees, 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, then I suggest you additionally listen to my Libra report, as you very late degree friends will have benefits from both readings. I'm calling the theme of this month, Mars is in your sign, here's what to know. But of course, truth be known, there are way more factors to discuss for August and before and beyond than just Mars. But we are going to have a nice, strong, detailed focus on this. This is a transit that happens once every 2-ish years, and it brings all kinds of manifestations and lots of opportunities. So I want you to understand it really well so you can take advantage of it while it's here. So we're going to get deep into that, but first I want to lay the groundwork for the month by giving you a couple of understandings, layers of the general energy of this month. Everything in life is in layers. There are things that build on top of each other, and that creates the bigger, more complex picture. So I'm going to try to give you as many layers as possible to understand the subtle and not so subtle nuances that are making this month the way that it will be. So the first thing to know is that, again, this month, like July, we have more what I call salty aspects compared to sweet ones. This is where the planets are not getting along, but these are fast-moving nuisance bumps, which I liken to speed bumps. So if you just kind of imagine you're on a road with a lot of speed bumps. If you go slowly, you'll be less jostled. If you kind of just navigate through consciously and carefully, then you'll get through these bumps pretty easily. Not knowing that they're going on can be more frustrating, which is why I like to give you a heads up early, because it's like driving on a street before you realize there are road bumps and you're getting jostled and thrown all over the place, right? But now you don't have to worry about that because you have that awareness. The second thing is that we have a break still from eclipse season. So July and August is out of the heat of the two polarity sets of eclipses that we're working with right now. So April and May, and then again, September through November, we have the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle, which will be wrapping up this fall or spring for you all down under. Very intense energies of my stuff versus your stuff and our stuff. And then and that's actually been in a positive angle for Virgo placements since the end of 2021. Not to say that it can't bring mischief, but at least for your Virgo placement, it's been in a supportive angle. And then the new introduction of the Aries Libra stories that began in April with the Black Moon eclipse. And then we'll start to see those resurface September, October, November. So what we want to know now is we've got a little break from that as we integrate the changes that have happened and we prepare for the changes to come. Okay, so we have a lot to discuss: Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, all kinds of things. But I want to go into this Mars in your sign and really do a thorough job here because there's a lot to know. To do a thorough analysis of this placement, we want to understand Mars, the planet at play, right? We want to understand Virgo, the sign that it's in. And we want to understand the energy of Aries in the first house because that's the arena that it's moving through for Virgos. Mars, as you probably know, is the ruler of war and also ruler of the first house. So when Mars is moving through the first house for a certain given sign, it's also moving through the house of its rulership. So there is some nice congruence there. During this time, and the time we're talking about is basically July 11th through August 27th for the whole house chart. Placidus charts might be starting a little longer and ending later than that. But we can just speak from the whole house perspective because that's what we know. But just know that these energies I'm about to discuss could start before July 11th and could go after August, depending on your particular chart. But you'll definitely be feeling them strongly, in July and August. So this should be a time of really great physical activity in your life because Mars rules robust energy, and the first house is the house of your physical body. So when Mars is there, it's like a bull in a china shop, There's this element of working hard to further your individual interests also asserting yourself among others, maybe giving a voice to some things, some concerns that you've been quiet about. Maybe this will be smooth, maybe it will be rocky, maybe that's part of the bumps. Sometimes when we start calling things out that we haven't, or setting boundaries, sometimes it doesn't go well, and you might notice that. You don't have to come from an angry space, but the chance for feeling angry about not having set boundaries sooner, or feeling like people are tromping all over the ones you're setting, there could be some conflicts from that. But this is in general a time of great empowerment. This is a time where you can show the world what you can do, and you've got a vim and vigor for life, and for what you're bringing, and for who you are. And you have a really good chance to make a great impression upon people at this time. If there's someone in particular that you're trying to impress, or if you're trying to deepen your self-esteem, if this is an inner journey just for you and nobody else is really involved, you could impress yourself with your dedication and your discipline and your devotion to whatever it is you're focusing on. This is a time where, because you might be finding a voice when you felt like you didn't have one before, you may come off as insensitive to other people, which, like I said, could cause some conflicts. Again, you don't have to make a choice to do it that way, but you might have to do some inner work on the topics before you bring it to someone else. So, example, let's say you're really annoyed about something, and you just go to the person and you say, I'm really annoyed about this. Well, probably it could cause conflict. But if you do something like write a nasty letter to that person outlining just how mad you are, and then ripping it up and not giving it to them, then at least you've gotten out a lot of that, venom, we'll say. And then when you go to discuss it, it might have a little less charge on it, which might be able to make your concerns heard and be more productive. Okay, so that word venom is good. There's some things that are poisoning you right now from not saying them and from not feeling them. So this is a time where some of this could come out. And the more conscious and careful you are with how you bring that out, the more it can go smoothly, but out it must come. This is also a time where demands of others might be quite strong. Like, people might be wanting you to do things. And this might be a time where you might either have more limits than you usually do, or become aware that you haven't been setting limits. So there might be this push and pull between what people expect of you, what they've come to expect of you, and what you're willing to give at this point, and maybe even in the future. This also has things to do with independent projects. It's a tricky thing because the sign Virgo that it's moving through has to do with, humble service to others. But the house it's moving through is very much about shoring up yourself first. So essentially putting on your oxygen mask first, like they always say in the airplane. So there's going to be some element of you being able to help others more by you doing some things to take care of yourself. So this is an important time in asserting that. This also could be a time where power that you've given away to others, you start recapturing that. Like I said, this is just a major empowerment journey. It can have to do with the energy of domination, okay? So not that you want to dominate somebody else, that you just want them to do them and you to do you. But you might become aware of places where you're being controlled, and you might take actions to remedy that. This can be a fighting energy, but it can also be a passionate, inspiring energy and a motivating energy where you just feel, directed and lifted and exuberant in your expression. And that word exuberant is a key word this month in August because Mars carries exuberance. Mars moving through its own house, as it is for you right now, carries exuberance. And then all of the Leo energies also carry exuberance. So this is a very fiery, feisty, motivating, inspiring catalyst of kind of like a powder keg of an energy. You may find an increase in your physical vitality, which could come from using this Mars focus. I always like to call Mars the border collie of the zodiac. If you've ever seen a border collie, they get very obsessive about things. And so wherever Mars is in your chart, the sign, the house, you become very obsessed with those fields of experience at that time. And at this time, you might become very obsessed with health matters because Virgo rules health. Also, Pallas Athena is in Virgo. Mercury retrograde is in Virgo. So you'll be reconsidering, going back over things with your health, things with your wellness, things with your physicality. The first house and the sixth house are both houses of your physical body and your physical energy and your health and wellness. So through the sign and the house, you've got this very intense, rare, extra boost of energy on your body. Now, you might make major discoveries as to why you didn't have vitality. Maybe you need certain vitamins. Maybe you need, you're doing something that's bogging you down. Maybe you've had a low-lying virus, like Epstein-Barr. Sometimes people have chronic viruses and they're just tired all the time and they don't even know. And then you start treating it and then all of a sudden your vitality comes back. Examples like that. So, whether it's literal, like an actual virus, or whether it's figurative, like something has been parasitic, you've been engaging in a parasitic relationship with someone or something, this is a time where that awareness and putting that obsessive Mars energy towards resolving it can give you your vitality back. One thing to be careful of here is just be careful of accidents and straining yourself from having so much exuberance, like lifting more weight than you should, or working out too hard, or running too hard, or running around like crazy and not paying attention and tripping, or, so just be extra careful and just imagine that energy of or that visual of a bull romping around in a china shop is kind of like that, where all of this, whether it's the venom I talked about before, whether it's the physical energy or whatever it is, wants to come out, and, creating a safe space to do that will be your mission. When Mars is in Virgo, it really lends itself to this idea of deferring tomorrow's pleasure for today's work, or deferring today's pleasure for work, basically, like that you're investing in something, you're working towards something. So you may find that there's something specific that you're saving for or that you're working towards, and every disciplined effort that you apply, or tedious or continual commitment that you make, is building towards something greater. The sixth house and Virgo, which is, the sign that rules the sixth house, and Mars is in the sign of Virgo, is the house of your work, like your daily work, what you do every day for your vocation, or what you do every day as your contribution to your family or community. So there is some element of maybe having extra energy to put towards work, which can be very productive and even financially lucrative. You might find at this time that it's a little bit harder to be a team player. So, a lot of times people with Virgo energy, they do work well with teams. Again, not making a scathing generalization that that's true for everybody. Every individual is unique depending on your particular profile, but pure Virgo energy does tend to work together for a cause or do something, with others along the lines of a certain goal. But this is a time where you might find it a little bit more difficult to do that, and you might find yourself being a little bit more rambunctious or impatient with, if other people are not doing things in a way that makes sense, or if they're holding up a project. You might find that if there's a way that you can work on some things individually now and then feed that back into the team later, that it might be easier for you. Okay, so let's talk more about some of these other placements. Pallas Athena is, I call her a multi-goddess. She's got so many different fronts that she works on. But one of the key words here to remember is boldness and strategy. So as it relates to your health, as it relates to your wellness, as it relates to your healing, as it relates to your physical body, your appearance, also your reputation, all of this might require some boldness and strategy for healing. This is also a time between Mercury retrograde being here and Pallas and Mars. This might be a time where you're reconsidering how people have seen you, and you are getting in touch with how you see yourself. And if that's in a positive light, then bringing that out to the world. And if it's in a negative light, then healing that. Sometimes we see ourselves as our parents saw us. And so if your parents had a jaded view of you and you're still working that out, this might be a time to shed the viewpoint of yourself with how other people have seen you. So it can be a very important and clearing and, again, empowering time. Okay, let's talk a bit about Mercury retrograde. Mercury will go into its pre-retrograde shadow period August 4th. It actually goes retrograde August 23rd until September 14th. Post-shadow transit goes through September 30th. So essentially August and September are covered in Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is great for a lot of things. Going back over things, editing, resolving things, clearing up piles. In this case, in Virgo, going over tedious tasks. Things that, like editing a site or editing a book or editing any other kind of project, fine-tuning things, chiseling them to perfection. These are all really great things. And also blasts from the past and friends and acquaintances and family, or going back to a place that felt, great for you. There's this energy of blessings from the past. And that's duplicated because we've got Mercury and Venus in retrograde. So the chance for past connections to bring you joy for the present and the future are much more expanded at this time. My favorite aspect of Mercury retrograde is what I call last minute magic. Okay. This is a common time where things all of a sudden, maybe things that you've wanted or maybe things that you didn't even dare ask for, can just come in out of the blue, in which case we have to dispel a myth right now. There is some kind of myth going around that you shouldn't travel during Mercury retrograde. That is not true. Although many people have horror stories about things that have happened. You can travel, but what tends to go better is travel that's not necessarily planned, or that's lightly planned, or that's written in pencil. Okay, so last minute travel, an opportunity to go somewhere, or saying yes to some place someone invites you, that all has great potential right now, whether it's near or far. And just even saying yes to go over someone's house to catch up with them and, can be wonderful. So that leads us to some guidelines for Mercury retrograde. Try to leave yourself as unscheduled as you possibly can, meaning schedule the necessary things, do what you have to do, that's normal. But if it's unnecessary, like doctor's appointments, other things that you don't really need to do in that time frame, you might be better off planning those before or after the retrograde, because the chance for them being rescheduled or called into question, or you being late and it causing a problem, all of that's increased during the retrograde. So the lighter you leave yourself scheduled, the more room you have for last minute magic, and the less time you're going to spend on the phone rescheduling the things that you scheduled for this time. Because I promise you, if you schedule a bunch of stuff, you're going to spend half the month on the phone trying to reschedule everything. One other thing I wanted to talk about with Mars is the fact that we've got 3 Mars trines this month. August 1st, there's a trine. And by the way, a trine is the most favorable aspect in all of astrology. It can bring amazing blessings, deliver things into your lap that you might not even feel you deserve, or you didn't do anything for, or it can be the result of hard work rewarded. Okay, so August 1st, Mars in Virgo trines Jupiter in Taurus. And then we've got on August 16th, Mars in Virgo will trine Uranus, the planet of surprises, things that come out of the blue in Taurus. And then August 24th, we've got Mars trining the planet of transformation, Pluto, in Capricorn. So speckled throughout the month, we've got not only, the whole month, you've got this Mars in Virgo and Mars in your first house, in your sign energy. But then you also have kisses that Mars is making with all of these other placements, just bringing so many potentials to life and bringing so much chance for physical manifestation of things that previously had just been feelings or ideas. These are supremely positive transits, and they're all making amazing angles, specifically for earth signs, which Virgo is one. There is also a Mercury trine on the 10th, and Mercury is going to have 3 earth trines with Jupiter. Not all this month, but as it goes through its retrograde cycle. So we just have, a lot of beautiful energy of creation and tangible experience, bringing blessings to your material world. Some of this trine activity brings into awareness this 9th house of Sagittarius, which is long distance travel, teaching, learning, education in general, writing, publishing, spiritual pursuits, broadening of horizons and enriching of your world and seeing things from the top of a mountain, which gives you a broader perspective that can bring peace and understanding. So you could have a lot of perspective changes that could really be part of this, where if you change your mind, you change your life. And so it's hard to tell what's going to precede, which. You could have your life changed and then it changes your viewpoint, or you could change your mind and then your life changes. But there's definitely going to be enriching potentials and expanding horizon potentials abounding at this time. Something important to know about personal planet retrogrades, is that it can cast things into uncertainty. So in general, August is not the easiest or best time to be planning even for the future. So it's not just plans within the month. It's kind of a time where things get called into question, and where now things that you might have been doing might be different, and you might be on the verge of a trajectory shift, but you can't really see more than a couple of steps ahead of you. And the more you let that be okay, the more peaceful you can have this time be. It's also important to remember that Mercury rules Virgo. So Mercury is your ruler. So every time Mercury is in retrograde, there's a special level of connection to people with Virgo placements. Okay, so now let's get into some other things. There's a ton of Leo energy this month. So we already know about the discipline and the focus, and gosh, Virgo knows all about that, right? With that being a constant for you. But let's talk about these co-dominating energies of Leo this month. We've got 3 planets in Leo, 3 planets in Virgo. We've got Lilith, Venus retrograde, and the Sun in Leo, bringing exuberance and energy and creativity and passion, fun, romance, all of the energy of just sparkling fiery. It's a sparkling fiery festival. I particularly love the combination of the Leo and the Virgo, because the Virgo energy gives a little channel for the fire energy to flow through. So it might help you to manifest things easier, or to have more direction with what you're manifesting. And Jupiter in Taurus from May 2023 to May 2024 is also corroborating this story. This is a time to start trimming the fat from your schedule and what you're putting out, and narrowing down with great discernment what you're going to put your passions into, your energy, your creative forces. And then you can see those things really start to glow, because you're pulling in, you're reining in things that might have been dispersed in different directions and channeling them more power into fewer things. So of course, when the Sun gets into the 12th house, this happens right before your birthday. So we are going to have Virgos with birthdays this month. So happy birthday to our early degree Virgo placements. Birthdays are very special times when the universe is especially responsive to your wishes. So just remember to do your birthday wishes, write them down, say them out loud, feel them as if they've already come true. And if you have another placement besides your Sun as a Virgo, so your Virgo moon, Virgo rising, so the Sun's going to cross another Virgo placement, what you get to have at this time is the energy of having your intentions fine-tuned. So birthday wishes get more energy at this time. And if you have something other than your Sun, then your intentions are, and also, either way, your intentions can be magnified. But even if you don't get birthday wishes, you putting power behind what your intent is definitely happening at this time for all Virgo placements. So what happens in the weeks before your birthday is that the Sun, this big spotlight in the sky, lights up the dark space of your unconscious mind. And it can be very uncomfortable, and it can, like turning a light on in a dirty attic that hasn't been cleaned. You can see disgusting things that you don't want to deal with. And you can see treasures that were lost that can be dusted off and, found. So this is a time, this is beautiful, that's purposeful by the universe. The universe purposely puts you through this cycle where before you make your birthday wishes or you make your intentions, that you get to see more of what you don't want. This way you can use the power of your wishing to affirm in what you do want. And for those of you who are September-born Virgos, this is all true for you too. It's just going to be staggered. So, as we get towards the middle to end of August, that 12th house will start lighting up for you September born. And those of you at the end of the Virgo sign, as we get more towards the beginning of September, this will start being lit up more. But either way, I am putting out there the vision, the energy, the potential. If you are a person who has notoriously partied in the time before your birthday in the name of saying, I'm starting my birthday celebrations early, consider that the reason why you're doing that is because the sun is lighting up the place of your unconscious mind, showing you things that are uncomfortable, and you are using addictions to get them away. So if that's happening for you, then maybe you'll make a choice that will be more serving to you of just being with some of those energies and doing some techniques or getting some help in clearing out the things that are making you uncomfortable, so that you don't have to step out of presence in order to cope with this transit that happens every year, and where you can find parts of yourself, hidden gems and hidden resources, and bring them out into the world. Okay, so now let's talk about Venus retrograde. Venus is going to be retrograde. The pre-shadow period starts June 19th. That stretches to July 23rd when the official retrograde happens. Retrograde from July 23rd until September 4th, with the post-transit shadow period lasting until October 6th. Venus rules love and relationships and beauty and design and self-esteem and comfort and money and finances. And all of these things get a look backwards, where we're looking to the past through issues that have come up or through opportunities. We're bringing things back from the past that worked, or we're dealing with things that keep coming up and hopefully getting to a further state of completion of those issues. I did some really great detailed work on understanding Venus in retrograde in the 12th house in the July report. If you go to my homepage, Annie Botticelli on YouTube, or if you are listening on podcast, you can just search for Virgo July 2023, Annie Botticelli. Then I talk about secret decisions for Virgo to make, and that has to do with Venus being retrograde in your house of secrets and your special, personal behind closed doors space. So just kind of know that some work might be getting done on your behalf, unbeknownst to you, or you might be plotting with somebody behind closed doors to bring something out, getting support, kind of private support. There are a lot more things to know there, and you can see that, that review. But Venus retrograde can definitely bring some things back from the past to be dealt with, and the degree to which you show up to deal with them is the degree to which you can integrate more positive changes for the present and future. I gave you some really positive dates and transits. I'm just going to give you one to look out for. August 22nd, Mars in Virgo opposing Neptune can bring confusion, uncertainty, a little deception, security breaches, things like that. So just be extra careful of those things in the days around the 22nd. If you really like the dates and you'd like to know the specific aspects and how they may affect you, you can find my fave aspects and be awareful and careful aspects in my newsletter when you sign up for my free VIP community at anniehelpsyou.com. Also, anniehelpsyou.com is the interface for all the free goodies I make for you each month, including my written horoscopes and just a ton of other stuff that you can connect with from my free bank. And if you want to learn astrology and you resonate with how I teach, you will love my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you think I put a lot into my free offerings, which I do, then you should see what I put into my paid offerings. It's very, very comprehensive, very affordable, especially for what you're getting. And you can learn how to be an astrologer and learn how to earn money doing what you love with the stars. And even if you just want to learn for your own self-development and helping your family and friends, it will help you. So you can go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com. If you want to have more content from me, like in a year's worth of archives, go to AnnieBAstrology.com, Annie the letter B astrology.com, and join my secret star portal. You can get my deep dive Saturn and Pisces, my deep dive Jupiter and Taurus through the signs, my deep dive in how to help you make tough astrological transits easier, and just a ton of other stuff, and I post more things monthly. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.